Did anyone watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Do you remember that Little Brats song? I want the world, I want the whole world. That is the song of this generation. Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Lily of the Field. I kind of wanted to do a little rant. I'm beginning to see something, a pattern you might say, in the way that we approach dating and relationships, and I don't think it's very healthy. I was on a date yesterday. I can't even really call it a date, honestly, because I'm the one who planned it, and we didn't really do anything other than walk around my neighborhood because I don't plan dates. So this guy, arrives to this date late, about 15 minutes late, then starts telling me something about, he went to 3 different stores to get me flowers, but he couldn't find them or something, which I didn't really understand why he was telling me. It would have been better if he didn't tell me at all. But I said, it's no problem. I wasn't expecting flowers. So we walk around, it's very hot. And so I decide finally to just stop by one of the restaurants and ask for lemonade. We go in, of course I pay for my lemonade, which I thought, there's a chance that he just was absent-minded, but I thought that was interesting just because if you didn't spend the money on the flowers and you see I'm gonna pay for like a $3 drink and you don't offer to pay for it, were you really gonna get those flowers? Or, but anyways, that's besides the point. I'm gonna cross the road, 1 second. Okay, so where was I? He didn't buy me my drink, I bought my own drink. He didn't get anything for himself either, so there you go. I know a little bit about this guy's financial situation, and it's not the best. So I wasn't really expecting him to pay for anything, quite frankly. Okay, so the interesting thing that happened is that we kept walking, and he suddenly says, I've been talking to my consultant, the Holy Spirit. Now he knows I'm a Christian, of course, because I make that clear very in the forefront when I meet someone. I already knew what was coming. And he said, I've gotten the go-ahead to ask you to be my woman or whatever. I know, the wording was, but he's from a different country, so. And I just laughed to myself. I just laughed. Wouldn't you laugh? Wouldn't you laugh if that was you on this date? Here's a guy who didn't plan the date. I planned the date. He shows up late, talks to me about wanting to buy me flowers, didn't do it. I go to buy myself a drink. He doesn't offer to pay $3. I know his financial situation is not stable. Do you see what I'm saying? But I've made clear to him from the beginning, I'm not looking for a boyfriend. I'm looking for a husband and a father. So he says this whole thing about him wanting me to be his woman or whatever. I don't poo-poo on him because I don't believe in squashing a man, especially when he does that. That takes a lot of courage, even just to ask, right? And who knows, maybe he's just not aware of the way I'm seeing things, so I'd never want to crush his ego. So instead I ask him a question. I say, well, what does that mean? He says, I want to be exclusive. I say, okay, what does exclusive mean? Now, you have to understand here, I don't believe in being exclusive with anyone who isn't prepared to marry me within the coming weeks. My answer was already no. Immediately he said the E word. exclusive. I was like, yep, that's not gonna happen. But I just was curious, what was his thought process? So anyways, we get more into the conversation, and I tell him my stance on exclusivity and how I expect that to mean we are so serious that we're at the point where we're planning marriage. And so he says, okay, yeah, well, that's what I mean. He's like, hold on one second. So he says, yeah, I'm at that point. I feel like you're the kind of woman that I see in my life or whatever, whatever. So he says, you check a lot of the boxes for me. But the point for me that I realized, like, this is definitely not gonna happen, is that he finished listing off all these things that he wanted, right? And I asked him simply, do you think that I also want things? Do you also think that I have boxes that need to be checked? And he says, oh yeah, of course, but he doesn't ask me what they are. He doesn't ask me what I see for myself. He simply thinks, okay, she checks my boxes, then we're good to go. Again, it's not just him. It's something that I've done myself to men. It's something that I've seen women do to men. It's something that I've seen men do to women. This idea that you come into a romantic situation or a potential romantic situation, a potential relationship, thinking, well, what's in it for me? What can you do for me? Do you check my boxes? And we don't take into consideration, do I check your boxes? Am I what you imagined? Now, I'm flattered to know that I do fit someone's boxes, but when they cannot even think to themselves, okay, there's probably something that you want, and do I have what you want? There's probably something that you desire or that you need, and do I have that to offer you? Here I am, a girl, a young lady, who wants to be married and have children. And there's nothing in your life that says I can take care of a family. You literally can't even plan a date and buy me a $3 drink. But I'm asking you, do you feel prepared to take care of a family? And you're saying yes. And I'm like, well, why? Why should I believe that? Oh, because I'm a hard worker. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you that you're hardworking, and I'm sure you're building things right now in your life that are gonna be phenomenal in 10 years. I don't have 10 years worth of eggs to wait for you. And that's just the reality. I don't have 10 years to sit around and hope one day you might be ready. So, and that's just that's not a reality I gave myself. I don't know why God put women on a body clock. I have no clue why he did that, but I have to accept it. And because I have to accept it, anyone who's interested in me has to accept it. He didn't really quite get it. He was still fighting for the fact that, well, he's a hard worker. And I just thought to myself, it's because you're only seeing things in terms of what you want and not in terms of what the person you want wants themselves. I guess the point of this video really is to point out this epidemic of self-centeredness. It's just one of many aspects that I think has destroyed our ability to build strong, healthy, meaningful relationships. That we cannot for 1 second step outside of ourselves into the shoes of the other person and say, what do you need from me? Can I imagine myself in your shoes? At some point your time is up to have a family, and I just want to walk into your life not prepared because I want you, but I don't have anything to offer you according to your circumstance. Do you see how this is troubling? My arm hurts. Okay, so yeah, do you see how this is a troubling thing that is pervasive in our society? We've become so much about ourselves that it's impossible. How are we ever going to have a successful relationship with another person when the only relationship we really care about is our relationship to ourselves and everybody else's relationship to us? that's kind of what I was talking about in my summary video of Esther. And for those of you who didn't watch, dangerous. I was basically talking about how Esther's heart and her attitude and her actions before she even entered into her relationship, were all about, how can I please you? How can I give to you? How can I make you happy? How can I improve your life? How can I protect your life? Her attitude had nothing to do with what she expected and what she wanted. And in contrast, Queen Vashti was all about herself. I mean, she was throwing a party for herself at the same time as her husband. And this was her downfall. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to enter into a relationship with someone thinking, well, you check my boxes, so why isn't this working out? I don't care about what boxes you need checked. I just care about my own boxes. Never mind that I have basically negative in terms of value to offer you. And it might be flattering for someone to tell you, like it was for me, wow, you check all my boxes. That's flattering, but it's really not compelling if I look over at your side of the fence and it's a desert in terms of what I'm looking for. Now, how might this have gone differently? I'm just gonna imagine here. Perhaps if he were to, instead of asking me to be his woman, he were to ask me, what is it that I'm looking for in a man? If he had taken what I had said quietly and started to work on those things, and in maybe a month or 2 or 3 months' time, when he's gathered some evidence of his capability to provide and come back and said, you know what, I'm not where I want to be, but I've been working on this, that, and the other because I do want to have a family with you, and I were to see evidence, perhaps we would still be talking right now. And again, I don't want to make this a boy versus girl thing, because I've seen women do this as well, where they will say, I want a guy who is a leader, but then they will be hypercritical, micromanage, be super nitpicky, and it's like a man who is a leader cannot lead in that kind of environment. Or there are women who say, I want a guy who's ultra masculine, a man's man, a manly man. But the thought of wearing a dress or the thought of wearing a skirt is repulsive to them. And I'm not saying you can't be the most feminine of women wearing pants, but I think you should explore, why is that repulsive? Why are you so averse? Okay, I'm back. I don't remember what I was saying before, but the bottom line of this video is that I really am being serious when I say I want to cultivate a more giving heart when it comes to my relationships. And I know that some of us struggle with codependency, where we overgive in an effort to make someone love us. But that's not the type of giving that I'm talking about. I'm talking about having a heart of honestly seeing things from the perspective of the person that I'm in relationship with. Being able to say, I wonder what kind of boxes you need checked. I wonder if I'm able to check those for you. I think that attitude, I honestly think it will lift a burden off of my back. Even if I continue to encounter people who don't care or who are just oblivious, like the guy from yesterday, who maybe just don't even understand this kind of relationship mathematics. Even if I continue to encounter people like that, I think if I come into things with an open heart, with an open understanding, trying to see from that person's perspective rather than just from my own and what I want and what I expect. And I know yesterday I had a lot of expectations that were not met, but I'm kind of proud of myself for not demonizing him because he didn't do one thing or another, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just didn't know, maybe he just wasn't aware. And I think that that's the beginning of grace. That's the beginning of extending grace to someone. And I want to be that kind of wife. I want to be that kind of mother. I don't want to burden my family with the resentment that comes from unmet expectations, which are inevitable. I am inevitably going to have expectations that are not met. And so what kind of woman do I want to be? What kind of wife do I want to be? What kind of mother do I want to be? And I've decided that I want to be a gracious one. I want to be a safe space for my children, for my husband. I don't want to be the nagging wife. I don't want to be the wife that has tallied up all of her resentments and is just kind of beating everyone over the head with them. And so I believe that you can practice that even while single. Dogs. I think that you can practice that even while single, where you start to give people grace. Try and see things from their perspective. Try and understand why they would think saying or doing or not doing or not saying something was okay. And I think if you're able to do that, if you're able to extend grace, even in the midst of your expectations not being met, you're not just lifting burdens off of that person, you're lifting burdens off of your own soul, and you're freeing yourself up to love. Real love, that kind of sacrificial love, that kind of gracious love does not ever return void. We'll see, we'll check back in like 5 years and see if this holds true, but that's where I want to be right now. I want to be in a spirit of love, in a spirit of grace, in a spirit of understanding. I don't want to be burdened by this, nobody's giving me what I want. Stomp, stomp, frown, frown, pout, pout. I'm so angry with the world because the world isn't giving me what I want. Did anybody watch Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Do you remember that little brat's song? I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it up, all up in my pocket, or something like that. That is the song of this generation. And when I say this generation, I'm not talking about millennials or Gen Z. I'm talking about everyone alive today. Okay, I've met them all. It's all the same. This generation is just full of I want the world. We just don't compute that the world requires something from us. That's such a problem. I don't want to add to it. I don't want to add to the problem. I can't control other people, but I can always affect my own behavior and how I respond and move in this world. And I've just decided I want to be a free woman. I want to be free in my spirit. I don't want to be bound by resentment. I don't want to be bound by jadedness. I don't want to be bound by bitterness because things aren't going exactly the way I wanted them to. So what? I can forgive. I can be understanding. I can extend grace. That's what I have control over. So let me take control then, for my own sake even. Yeah, for other people, but I believe it will free my own soul to stop going into things going, well, what are you going to do for me? So that's what I want to leave you with today. Maybe it might be a new thing for you to just ask, I wonder what that person's expecting from me. I wonder what expectations I might be able to fill for them. I don't know. I mean, if you have any experience with this, leave a comment down below and let me know what the effect was on that relationship or in your life. How did putting yourself in the shoes of the other person change the way the relationship worked out? Yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me here on this kind of impromptu walk around my favorite neighborhood. And until next time, have a blessed day. Bye.